Happy Super Bowl Sunday, and welcome to episode 8 of the Trade Rewind. On this episode, we'll take you through the career of a mid-2000s draft pick, an Oakland kid with track speed, wrestling grit, and a freshman highlight that started with him running the wrong way, a cold-weather NFL stop that never quite fit, and a midseason trade that quietly changed the trajectory of two franchises. Hope you enjoy.
All right, NFL trade. Mid-2000s here. This player, that's when he played in college and got drafted in the mid-2000s. He's from Oakland, which hopefully that doesn't give it away in and of itself. But he's from Oakland. He's one of our favorite players. I assume yours too. One of my favorite players. He's a running back. And this is a great story from his early life. When he was 13 years old, he got his first tattoo. And they asked, I was listening to a podcast, he was being interviewed, and they're like, "Oh, like, how'd that go?" He's like, "You just went and got one, you didn't tell anyone?" He's like, "No, it was my birthday, and I told my mom I wanted a tattoo, so she brought me to get one."
Love that.
Wild story, but I don't know, maybe that's what happens in Oakland. In high school, he was a 4-sport athlete. 4. Football, basketball, track, and wrestling. Obviously, football was the main sport. 2,100 yards and 33 touchdowns his senior season. So on par with what we've seen, LT, whatever, all these guys. Obviously have crazy high school stats. He was the number 2 running back in the nation behind one Adrian Peterson.
Wow.
So highly touted out of high school. Basketball, he also played, lost in the state semifinals. Track, wrestling. I think he had like all their school's records for track. Great athlete. Okay. He goes to Cal for college.
To Cal.
Cal.
I think they might have just given it away.
Don't tell me, because the listeners should have to guess.
You guys should start thinking already who you have in mind.
He gets to Cal as a freshman, and Aaron Rodgers is on the team.
Yeah.
He's a junior.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys, it's so cute because, you know, they're both in the NFL together and clearly are good friends, or at least very fond of each other. So Rodgers is a junior when he's a freshman. And Rodgers is the starting quarterback, QB1. So obviously, you know, everyone knows who he is. And Rodgers, you know, has a little bit of leeway. And they're in their like spring scrimmage. And
he runs the wrong way. I know this story. This is a great story.
So Rodgers is like, "Hey, let's put that guy in, freshman. Let's put him in." And he says, first play, Rodgers calls it, snaps it, and he goes the wrong way. And Rodgers does this like slick behind the back handoff, still manages to get it to him, and this guy takes it and scores a touchdown. But after he scores, the running back coach comes onto the field, reaming him out. He's like, "What was that? You ran the wrong way, whatever. What are you doing?" And now the head coach is coming over because there's a whole thing. And Rodgers is like, no. Like, that was on me. That was my fault. Like, I called the wrong thing. I told him to go the wrong way. And the guy's like, "What are you talking about?" Rodgers like, "No, I'm telling you, this is on me. Like, I made a mistake." And they're like, "All right, whatever." And
it's great teammate stuff right there.
Awesome. It's just funny. Also, like, Rodgers gets so much flack nowadays.
Yeah, he gets a lot of hate.
Everyone's hating on him, and it's interesting to hear stories like that.
Yeah, I think, you know, he's definitely, as his career's gone on, you know, as he's gotten older, he's gotten a lot more hate for being a little out there. But it's good to know and to hear these stories. Like the players know, and being a good teammate, you know, is as important as anything.
Yeah, and I mean, clearly, still players wanted to play with Rodgers. Like Devontae Adams was trying to get to the Jets. You know, these guys, he clearly has built great relationships with many, with a lot of the players he's been on teams. It's interesting that he's been so hated in the media. I mean, I guess whatever.
Right. I mean,
COVID.
It's like you're saying, like, I can't think of a player that's come out and been anti-Rodgers or a teammate. Like all his old teammates, they speak so highly of him. It's really, the media doesn't like him so much.
Yeah, I think there were maybe some.
And he's got family stuff.
That's true. There may be some from the although his brother's on college football nowadays.
Is he?
Yeah.
Really? He's an analyst?
He's not calling the games, I don't think, but I've seen him on ESPN as a talking head. They ask him
Really?
questions, and I don't they don't talk.
Right. He doesn't talk to them. Very interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, so getting back into the story, this player is like, I view Rodgers as one of the reasons I got drafted. He told the coaches to give me a chance and whatever. And apparently throughout the year, Rodgers would continue to ask him to get on the field and just loved playing with him, whatever. The starting running back for Cal that year was JJ Arrington, and he had 2,000 rush yards, but this player still saw the field, which, like I said, he attributes that to Rodgers. So
2,000 rush yards. Wow.
yeah, great year for him. JJ, not for the player we're talking about. He had 10 touchdowns as a freshman still, even with the starting running back.
Limited playing time.
775 total yards and 8.8 yards per carry.
Wow. Talk about a second, a change of pace back, being dominant. Wow.
Yeah. That's like a college exclusive. No one's having nearly 800 rushing yards and 8.8 yards per carry.
Yeah,
in the
wow.
NFL. He had 10 touchdowns as a freshman and a sophomore, and then his junior year, which was his final year, he had 15 touchdowns. And then he goes to the draft. You obviously already know who it is, so you think we should let the people know, or we'll wait till he gets drafted?
Yeah, we can let the people know. Obviously, this is beast mode. This is Marshawn Lynch.
Marshawn Lynch. I mean, we'll continue to talk.
I mean, when he said Cal and then Rodgers and Oakland, I mean, pretty dead giveaway.
I thought just from Oakland. I didn't know, honestly. I didn't know the Rodgers and the Cal stuff beforehand.
And the thing, I mean, what comes immediately to mind when you think of Marshawn Lynch and Cal is the famous game where he steals the golf cart and drives around after.
That video is hilarious.
So, like, that's like iconic. That's like what a lovable guy, Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about him right now, actually, but we'll give our thoughts out on him as a awesome person and player at the end. So going to the draft, everyone's like, this guy's he's awesome. Total package, no holes in his game. He caught passes. He rushed extremely well. What's the only reason why he's not the first running back off the board?
AP.
AP, exactly. So Adrian Peterson, obviously, which in hindsight, totally fair.
Yeah.
They didn't make the wrong decision.
They're right about that.
He ran a 4.46 40, which is funny to me because, and also track and whatever, there's an interview with him and Rodgers. They're talking about how Rodgers is like, when you got in the game, Rodgers would be like, just run and go, like throw it up. If there's a linebacker on, you just go, like, I'll throw it to you. It's funny because I don't think of him as a speedster.
Right. I was just thinking that because, a lot of his, you remember him more, and we remember him more at the end of his career when he was like this bulky bruiser. And his biggest runs were not finesse. They were physical.
Right. And there was no, we weren't, maybe he had it, but we weren't seeing breakaway speed. We weren't seeing like Saquon where he's just leaving everyone in the dust for 60-yard touch. If he had it, he had 60-yard touchdowns. Obviously, those are his best runs, but he was
throwing people down
till the 1-yard line. He was still running people over.
I think also, I'm sure, earlier in his career, he probably had more breakaway speed.
Yeah, I'm sure. So he had 20 reps on the bench press. Now, ever since Jay Cutler got 23, I've been more locked into
on the reps.
So we're still waiting for someone to beat Jay Cutler. What's crazy about Jay Cutler, another fun fact, in his class, he had more bench presses than all the linebackers.
Jay Cutler did.
Jay Cutler.
Wow.
Insane. Whatever. He clearly benched.
He was on his grind.
Yeah. So beast mode, Marshawn, 5'11", 215, gets drafted 12th overall by the Buffalo Bills. Just an awesome player. The Bills, it was an interesting time in his life on the Bills. This is a guy from Oakland, California, who has dreadlocks. He's black. He's tatted up literally everywhere. And now he's in Western New York.
Talk about a culture shock.
Yeah, it was an interesting match. So he said, he He's all these hilarious stories. He goes into a bar and he's like, "Hey, like, let me get some Hennessy." And they're like, "We don't have that here." And he's like, "Nah, I see it. It's right there. Like, let me get some Hennessy." Whatever. Like, and they're like going back and forth, him and the bartender. Takes him a while to realize he's not giving him Hennessy because he's black.
Wow.
Like, whatever. It was just
Buffalo.
interesting. Had some interesting experiences there. And he said he actually liked the city in Buffalo and he really loved the fans, but like the suburbs were what threw him off. There was just a lot of drama there with him. And he was performing well in the field.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, if you had told me, I didn't know he started his career in Buffalo. I don't even remember. I can't even envision him in that jersey.
That's funny. So I knew, and that's part of why I wanted to do it, because it's an interesting, just crazy. So his first 3 seasons he was on Buffalo, and he out the gate he had 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and then his 3rd season massive drop off. He wasn't starting every game, and there's a lot of off the field stuff happening that we're going to get into a little bit. And he only had 450 yards rushing his 3rd season, which is ultimately why they're going to trade him. So coming back just to like Buffalo, what was going on, the media he didn't get along with because, I mean, we know famously he doesn't get along with the media very well. So he said, like when he got drafted, everyone was hyping him up. Like, this is God's gift to the world. He's amazing. We love him. And then all of a sudden, he has a couple situations off the field and they're like,
Turning on him.
they turn on him. Oh, we knew he was a thug all along, whatever. Classic media, classic players struggling with the media. We'll get to the most famous media thing a little bit later. He has this whole thing. He's like, yeah, the police in Buffalo hated me. They'd pull me over on my way to work, on my way from work, in the Bills parking lot.
Oh man.
The Buffalo cops, they hated me. They're always pulling me over. One time he gets pulled over. He's like, seriously, again? And the guy's like, my son's a huge fan. I think he was trying to get his signature or something.
That's great.
And he's like, bro, you can't be doing this. So he says the reason he requested a trade was because of this, just like all these issues he was having with law enforcement. I will say, and I love Marshawn, and he's an awesome person and player. There was some actual things going on. So he had a gun charge, and he's like, oh, the cops hated me in a car with no license plate. And a cop came over and, they said they smelled weed. They investigated, and there was a gun in a bag in the back seat, which is a misdemeanor in California. So it's not like he wasn't doing anything wrong. He pled guilty. He was sentenced to probation and 80 hours of community service. At one point, he had a hit and run, which at first sounded really bad, but it apparently was like raining really heavy, and he tapped someone with his car without realizing. She had a bruised hip. She needed some stitches. He paid like $150 and had his license temporarily revoked. So nothing like crazy, but it's not like, he was completely innocent.
Right. And then it sounds like it's not even that it was big things, but just small things adding up.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever. It kind of makes sense, I think, just culture shock wise. He got to this place that he clearly didn't fit in, and that ended up taking a toll on him. I mean, I don't know, he wasn't one of those guys that was like his whole life is football. And, he liked to go out sometimes, whatever, and that's hard to do as a black man with dreads and tats from Oakland
In Buffalo.
New York. So
Absolutely.
it kind of seems like a mutual decision at some point, which is how these, even when it's not a mutual decision, usually by the end is a mutual decision because he's whining about it for so long. I want to leave. I want to trade, whatever. And they're like, no, we don't want to trade you. We're not going to trade you, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, if you can't mend the relationship, the player gets traded.
Yeah.
So on October 5th, 2010, he's traded to the Seattle Seahawks after week 4, so midseason, to free up more opportunities for Fred Jackson and CJ Spiller. So the Bills have been saying for a long time, they're like, nope, we're not going to trade him. We're committed to him, whatever. And ultimately, they decided, you know what? We're done with it.
They were both pretty good players in their own right, Fred Jackson, CJ Spiller.
Yeah, it is interesting. That was the goal, and they didn't necessarily, I mean, the Bills failed for other reasons. But it wasn't because of Fred Jackson and CJ Spiller.
Right.
Their franchise happens to be a complete disaster, and they didn't make the playoffs for like 10 seasons, but that had nothing to do
Yeah.
with their running backs. The running backs were fine. So the trade is Marshawn Lynch for a 2011 fourth round pick and a 2012 fifth round pick.
That's it. No players.
That's it. And it's a little bit crazy if you think about it. This guy was drafted 12th overall as a running back not so long ago. Okay. This is his fourth season in the NFL. He was drafted 12th overall as a running back, and it's not like he's been bad the whole time. His first 2 seasons were 1,000 yards. Yeah, his third season was very bad. And then his fourth season, you're 4 games in. So
Right. And we got to add on also, this isn't, 2020 where teams don't draft running backs in the first round anymore. Like, he was drafted in the first round when teams were drafting running backs in the first round.
exactly. Yeah. And so he clearly he's a very good talent, even if he's not performing as a very good player right now. So that's my take in hindsight, which is obviously biased. And, at the time, I think that's generally how people felt. They were like, this trade is honestly irrelevant because the Bills are a trash team and they're never going to do anything. But, Lynch isn't good anymore. And still, even though he hasn't been performing well, people are like, seemed like the Seahawks underpaid. Like they gave up nothing and this guy clearly has potential. Whatever. So circling back really quick, 2011, the fourth round pick turns into Chris Hairston, who was an offensive tackle, off the Bills after 3 seasons, out of the league after 6. And the fifth round pick turned into Tank Carter, who was a linebacker. The Bills draft him, but he doesn't even make the roster. Browns get him off the waivers, and he starts 2 games over 5 seasons on the Browns, 20 career tackles. So they basically
They didn't get much.
they turned it into nothing. They got a fourth and a fifth round pick, which 3 years after the trade, they had no one left.
Which is what, fourth and fifth round picks, that tends to happen. Like, those are very hit or miss kind of picks.
Yeah, and if you're a bad organization, they're just miss or misses. That's what we call miss or miss picks.
Yeah.
So we get into this every episode, but bad organizations will do what bad organizations do. They trade a player
Absolutely.
who's an awesome player to the Seahawks, who are a good organization. Lynch is all excited because he's reunited with Justin Forsett, who was his roommate at Cal.
Oh, wow.
And Forsett was drafted by the Seahawks and whatever. This is my favorite part of this whole thing, this whole episode. This is going to be my favorite thing to do. This guy, Nathaniel Oy. I don't know how to say his name. Nathaniel is his first name. His last name, U-Y. He wrote an article, Bleacher Report, saying, it seems like the Seahawks gave up a lot, but here are the 10 reasons why they won't be able to revive Marshawn Lynch's career and why he actually sucks, basically.
Oh, wow.
And he's just crapping on Marshawn. Bad personality, injury prone, not durable. Seahawks are bad in rebuilding, might have to split carries. There's a reason why the Bills gave up on him. That's his take.
And this is, we got to put some context. Sean Alexander had just finished his career with the Seahawks.
Exactly. And that's why they're looking for a running back. They're desperate.
And he was, for the Seahawks, a legend. It's his career with the Seahawks, a big-time running back. So, big shoes to fill. And it's like, right, this guy who clearly, whoever's writing this article was like, injury-prone guy. It's just a lot of big shoes to fill. So it's like, I do understand the gut reaction to be like, you're not going to succeed with this.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Like you were saying, just in that context, the last time the Seahawks had an 1,000-yard rusher was Sean Alexander's MVP season in 2005. So that's what they're looking for. Now we're in 2010. They haven't had an 1,000-yard rusher. They've had bad running backs. And they're like, all right, we'll give up a fourth and a fifth round pick for someone who has shown production not too long ago. Seems like a pretty solid risk for us to take. On Nathaniel Oy, however you say his name, it's always interesting to me to take these kind of opportunities to just like drag a player through the mud.
Yeah.
Like what are you gaining from it? I don't know.
Right. I mean, a lot of these reporters are trying to make a name for themselves, and it's the wrong way to do it. You can be like, this is why schematically I don't think this will work, or this guy, but to be like personality, like to come after a person, as a person, I think is a lot. But this is how these team reporters are. I think a lot of times they're negative, and also they're trying to make a name for themselves and say something out there and get a reaction.
Yeah. He did not make a name for himself. I can't find any. I mean, it's possible he's not even a real person, honestly. I can't find any other article.
Could be a pen name. It also could be after that article and how wrong he was. They're like, all right, we need someone else.
Yeah, because it didn't take long for him to be proven completely wrong. So he's traded in the middle of 2010. That season on the Seahawks, I don't know. I kind of view it as a throwaway. He had 500 yards in 12 games, whatever. It was a midseason acquisition. Seahawks were not a great team. After that, he goes on to have 4 straight 1,200-yard seasons, make 4 straight Pro Bowls, and have at least 11 touchdowns in each of those years.
Wow.
So, safe to say, it worked out for the Seahawks.
Absolutely.
They made a good decision.
Trade.
His second season, Russell Wilson gets drafted and starts immediately. And, that's kind of the whole Seahawks just turning over completely. They go from being this bad team. Pete Carroll comes in, Russell Wilson comes in, Legion of Boom comes in, Marshawn Lynch comes in, and it's the perfect storm. Very quick rebuild. By his third season on the Seahawks, they win the Super Bowl. The Broncos-Seahawks Super Bowl. The Seahawks
Blow them out.
manhandle Peyton Manning and the Broncos. Was that the year? I think that must have been the year where Peyton Manning had the best statistical season ever for a quarterback.
Is it not the next year when he wins MVP and then wins the Super Bowl with against the Panthers?
Well, no, because he couldn't throw. The season where he actually won the Super Bowl was the season where the defense.
Right, you're saying good. That's a good point. Right. Yeah, that might have been the season they had 50 touchdowns and won MVP.
Yeah, like 55, I think.
Right.
Yeah, so whatever. They completely obliterate the Broncos.
That Super Bowl started on a safety. First play of the game after the kickoff was a safety.
Snap over
Peyton's head.
Wild.
And then it didn't get much better from there.
No, it was a bloodbath. So the next season, they make it all the way back to the Super Bowl. In the game before the Super Bowl, in the NFC Championship, they're playing the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. They're down 19-7 with 4 minutes left. It was abysmal. Russell Wilson had thrown 3 picks. The Packers were just dominating them on all fronts. And the Packers somehow managed to blow this game completely. The game goes into overtime. In overtime, the Seahawks win the coin toss, take the ball, never give it up, walk-off touchdown, 35-yard touchdown.
Lockett, right?
No, it's a Jermaine Curse. And he was having a terrible game up until that point. So, beautiful time for the Seahawks. And they were just on this magical run, right? Coming off the Super Bowl, down big in the NFC Championship, managed to make it back. It's their second Super Bowl in 2 years. They're about to go back-to-back. They have an awesome defense. This is where we get the infamous, I'm just here so
I won't get fined.
Basically, going into that Super Bowl, Marshawn Lynch is always having issues with the media, doesn't want to talk to them. He refuses to do press conferences, but as an NFL player, you actually are legally obligated. It's in your contract that you will do press conferences and talk to the media. So he's getting fined because he's not doing that. And he ends up getting on a call with Goodell. And Goodell's like, Marshawn, you just have to make yourself available. You don't have to do anything necessarily. Just be there, be available. And he's like, you know what? Fine. And then he's thinking about it. And he's like, oh, I know what I'm going to do. And basically he sits down. The way that the Super Bowl works is you have all the players are lined up and they're all sitting in booths kind of. And then media members come over and talk to them. And he sat in his booth and answered every question. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
It was such an amazing time. And I wonder just even then, social media was already a thing. But can you imagine if someone did that now?
It would be awesome.
The way social media is now, if every question they answered is, I'm just here so I won't get fined. Even then it was going viral, obviously, and it was blowing up. But now it would be such a bigger thing. It was just the ultimate, F you to Roger Goodell.
Yeah, in the NFL as a whole. I mean, also, we see people do it now, right? Missoula does it, like, once a week. Joe Missoula answers every question. Belichick did it. He's all but, like, what made this better than every other one that's been done is it was the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
and he was the biggest star or one of the biggest stars on the team. And yeah, like, Super Bowl that week is like it's like media week, Radio Row, everyone's there, it's a whole
Yeah.
scene, and he's just like, "Screw everyone, I'm gonna answer every
I wonder how Pete Carroll felt about it. Was he like, "This is a distraction," or was he like, just like, "Whatever, just Marshawn being Marshawn"?
Yeah, I don't know. These coaches must like it must to me like what was beautiful about the Seahawks and Marshawn Lynch is that they were just like, all right, like we know what we're getting here. Like there's gonna be some stuff like random things that he decides he hates the media, this and that. But like if we just like love him and appreciate him as a player, we're gonna get an awesome like a
He's
top
just getting the ball.
right. Like we're gonna get one of the best running backs in the NFL.
Yeah.
So all right, into the actual Super Bowl. We don't have to go through the whole game, but this is off the top of my head, it's got to be like a top 5 most famous Super Bowl moment.
100%. And one of the biggest just what ifs in Super Bowl history.
Yeah, I mean, is it number 1? I got nothing's like coming to my mind as like a single play.
There's a Super Bowl that ended with a guy tackled at the one.
Right, there's the Titans one. I think it's Titans Rams maybe.
There's the Tyree catch.
Yeah, that's true.
There's moments, but in like modern NFL, like
It's up there with all of them.
yeah,
Sure.
it's as memorable as any I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, at least for a single play, obviously the 28-3
Right.
comeback.
It's a good point. Yeah, for a single play, I don't know if there's anything as big as that play.
Those are 2 good ones. The Titans down at the 1 and the helmet catch for sure. But this is one of the biggest ever. Basically, the Seahawks are at the 1-yard line. They have a chance to win the Super Bowl. They're at the 1-yard line, and their running back is
Coming off of a miracle catch. A play before that, Russell Wilson kind of throws up a jump ball and it gets tipped and bobbled, and then is it Lane? I can't remember which receiver, Curse or Lane, is lying on the ground and it bounces to him and he catches it on the ground and then gets up and gets out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Like the fact that they were even in this position was already there was a miraculous play and an all-time Super Bowl catch that happened. And now here they are at the 1-yard line.
right, setting the stage perfectly. They're at the 1-yard line. Their running back is Marshawn Lynch, who is known for being this like big, strong running back that you can't drag down.
Just elite goal line running back.
And every single person in the stadium and the millions of people watching on TV are like, all right, we all know exactly what's going to happen right now. And there's nothing the Patriots can do. This is everyone's dream, all right? The Patriots are in a position where there's nothing they can do. All the Seahawks have to do is hand the football off to I don't think there's anyone else in the NFL at that point that you would rather have
In that moment.
to give the football to.
Yeah.
And for some reason that no one has ever been able to explain, they decide to throw the ball at the 1-yard line and it's intercepted.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. Sorry, they try to one of the things they try to say is that, they only had one timeout left, and if he gets stopped, then you gotta use your final timeout, and there's 40 seconds. But you're talking about Marshawn Lynch and the season on the line. I'm a little conspiratorial about this, and I think they did not want Marshawn Lynch to get MVP. And I think Carroll wanted Russell Wilson to get MVP. I think they were like, let Russell Wilson get a touchdown. We don't want Marshawn Lynch to be the one who is the hero.
That's what people said. That's the conspiracy theory. And also just like,
And I believe it because it just doesn't make any sense. Like, if you know football and you understand the moment, like, you're not putting the ball in the air. You're not risking it.
yeah. I mean, the only thing though is that like, I don't know if I want to give them so much credit. Sometimes these guys are just sniffing their own farts. These coaches just decide like, oh, I know I know they'll never see this coming.
Right. Classic like overcoaching and like zagging when you don't need to just for the sake of it. Like, oh, they're thinking we're gonna run, so we're gonna ask. But in this situation, it's like the whole world could know we're running it. It's Marshawn Lynch, 1 yard. Our O line versus their D line. We're in the Super Bowl. Like you could tell them, hey, we're running it, and still get that 1 yard. It's 1 yard.
Yeah, it's interesting what you say that because Marshawn says that there was like a lot of weird stuff with Carroll and Russell Wilson. Like apparently Carroll was like, he was like, yeah, no one talks to Russ. Like I think like on Russ, whatever. This is all alleged. So
Well, they're definitely that team. You can see, we see now that like there was a lot of hate for Russ because even Richard Sherman, trashes him and
yeah,
does it on national TV. Like he wouldn't do that if he loved Russ and loved playing with him.
yeah. So take all this with a grain of salt, but
All time meme, by the way, is after the picks when it pans to Richard Sherman with that face.
it's awesome. It's awesome. I just saw a hilarious video of someone asking him to sign it.
Really?
It's like a social media person.
Did he say yes or he told
Wow.
F off?
He was like, no, there's too much drama. No, it was like one of his social media, like,
Oh, really?
or it was like the Thursday Night Crew, like their social media.
Like a prank on him. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, it was someone he knew, but it was hilarious. Okay, so take all this with a grain of salt, but basically what Marshawn said is that allegedly Russell Wilson was like possible to get in touch with. He said he didn't even have his phone number. He asked someone for his phone number once because Russ had a tough game or something, and he was like, "Oh, let me give him a call, just tell him it's okay, whatever." And he asked one of their media people, and he was like, "Oh yeah, okay, like Russ will give you a call," and then he just like never did. Apparently, Pete Carroll said, "No one talks to Russ. I'm the buffer."
Right.
You
I think Russ, even there were stories he had his own assistant. And if you wanted to talk to Russ, you had to speak to his assistant.
Yeah, like weird things. Oh, one more thing I want to get to is that I don't know if you've seen this. I think it's the Do Your Job Patriots documentary. And whatever, the whole theme is that Bill Belichick's was just like, if everyone just does their job, like we'll win. Like that
Yeah.
was his coaching philosophy.
I'm happy you bring this up because I was about to say we must talk about the Patriots side of this play.
Yeah. So the Patriots apparently they had this guy whose job it was to draw plays.
The goal line stuff.
Yeah, well, I think all kinds of stuff, but especially goal line. It was like, you never know what teams are going to do, like draw up some plays. And this guy had drawn up this exact play because basic whatever is a whole weird thing. The guy's kind of like setting a pick, but it's legal and he goes around and they had been practicing it and practicing it in practice. And the Patriots Butler and whoever the other corner was with him couldn't figure out how to stop it.
Yeah.
And they never successfully stopped it in practice. And then they're in the Super Bowl and it's this massive moment. And that play that they've been practicing just comes up and Butler just makes one of the greatest reads and jumps on a ball we've ever seen. He gets there perfectly. He times it perfectly. It's flawless and he intercepts it. He gets there at the exact time as the receiver and just wins the Patriots the Super Bowl.
Right. It's unbelievable because when you think of like Patriots dynasty and like how good this team is, like you think Brady, you think a lot of things, and obviously Belichick, but so much of winning just comes down to coaching and preparation. And to see video of Patriots practice tape of them trying to defend that play and Malcolm Butler not being able to do it. But it's something that they focused on and he knew what to do in that situation. And that's like, when greatness happens, right? Preparation meets the moment, whatever you want to call it. And for him to have, arguably, it's like the Ray Allen shot of the NFL, like a massive, massive moment. And they had practiced for it, prep for it. Just unbelievable. It's so cool to see the Patriots side of that they prepped for it and they were on it. And then they even say it's the first time they faced that look all year. They had it in their bag versus goal line with 3 receivers and that stack, that 2 receiver little screen action. And they never faced it, but they were preparing for it. And it happens in the biggest moment of the season.
It's crazy. In all these games, what I've noticed, all these games are won on the margins. Like these minute details and then one play, 2 plays. Like that's what ends up turning these games. And I was just watching a video about how Brady killed like 4 or 5 different, or I think it was either it was 5 different dynasties, and then bonus was Mahomes because he didn't really kill the dynasty. The dynasty still
He
happened.
just like pushed it off a little.
He's not even push it off. Yeah, I guess push it off / just like he took like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
He took 2, right? Because he took 1 from Mahomes in the AFC Championship, and then he beat him in the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. Absolutely. It's
But like that's the difference between the Seahawks being a dynasty is probably that preparation, that like obsession from Belichick.
yeah. And where you talk about the margins, decision making, and they made the call to throw the ball, and it's the biggest what if, one of the biggest what ifs in NFL history, because anyone who knows football is thinking run the ball there, and they got cute with it, and they wanted to be. I personally think they were trying to get Russ as MVP, and they paid for it.
Yeah. And again, we'll get back into the story now.
And it's one of those things that it sucks. As a fan of Marshawn Lynch, it sucks because give him the ball. They would have won the Super Bowl, and he would have won MVP, and he would have had that moment.
Yeah.
And you never get that back.
That's exactly what he says. He said, like, he just went up to Pete Carroll and laughed in his face. Yeah. Like Marshawn Lynch, he goes up to Pete Carroll and he laughs in his face. And he's like, you took a dream away from me. Who isn't? Which kid isn't, as a kid, like you're on the 1 yard line and you're pretending that it's a handoff to win the Super Bowl, Like,
Yeah.
how many times have you played that moment through in your head? And here you are. You've made it. It's the Super Bowl. You're one of the best running backs in the world, and you're at the 1 yard line. And he just completely robbed him of that moment.
And I think it's to be great and to win a Super Bowl or a championship in any sport, you need to be like extremely focused on the goal at hand, win the game, focus on winning. And I believe that the Seahawks, and especially their coach, lost focus of the big picture of winning and started thinking about other things, about MVP and about who gets this. And when you stop focusing on the main thing, which is win the game, you make decisions that are questionable.
Yeah. So beast mode, he runs away. He goes to the Seahawks locker room. It sounds like, this is really the end of his time in Seattle and him like having a good relationship with them. He's a very complicated personality. And how do you come back from that? Even if you're not a complicated
Isn't that
personality?
fair? I mean, the guy was the best goal line back in the league, and they chose not to give him the ball. Like they're giving him the finger. I don't blame him for being disappointed, and I don't know how you come back from that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't is the answer.
They were never the same, the relationship between him and the Seahawks.
That was it. And he said they were recently at, they had their 10-year reunion for the Super Bowl. And he said there was like almost a cloud over the team because he really feels that stopped the Seahawks from becoming a dynasty. Because he thinks, you win back-to-back Super Bowls. Now, all right, like, I'll take a pay cut. I'll stay. I want to win a 3rd Super Bowl in a row. Like, I want to do something that's never been done before.
Right.
And because they didn't give him the ball on the 1 yard line and ended up losing that Super Bowl because of that, all these players were like, screw that. I don't care about the team. The team doesn't care about me. Why should I care about the team? The team doesn't care about winning. That's not their number one goal. Why should that be my number one goal? Give me my money. Give me what I deserve. What's the most amount I can squeeze out of this franchise?
Right.
And so he thinks that play basically, I mean, it obviously killed that Super Bowl, but he thinks it killed any hope of
I think he's on point. I also think it turned guys against Russell Wilson, and especially on that defense, because if I remember correctly, I don't think people were very happy with his post-game comments. Russell Wilson, he was like, it's meant to be. Like, he kind of was like, whatever God wants. Yeah, like, I don't know. People weren't so happy with that.
It was God's will, probably. He was like, yeah, this is what you get for not giving the
Not handing the
Marshawn
ball.
Lynch.
So I think 100%. You talk about chemistry and being, together is so important for winning. And when you lose that, and then you lose, confidence in your coach because you don't believe he's making the right decisions, it 100%. I think who knows if they could have won more, but it definitely changed the trajectory of that franchise.
Yeah, and the Seahawks, I mean, this episode's going to come out on Super Bowl Sunday, but the Seahawks, this is their first time back. And I mean, after that, it was just like they were, there was really no reason for them not to continue to be an awesome team that made these Super Bowl runs. It's extremely, like, it's extremely hard to make back-to-back Super Bowls. And if you're a team that can do it, you're a team that can do it. And that was it. That killed the entire dynasty. And literally until Pete Carroll left, that's what it took. Pete Carroll leaving and just a total culture change. McDonald coming in, and now they're back in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about because I'm sure in that moment, and anyone who was, watching NFL and a fan of the NFL at that point, like the Legion of Boom and how good they were, you probably thought like they'll be back. Like they were this great team. They were the best defense. They were this unbelievable team. They'll be back. And it just doesn't work like that in the NFL. Like there's no given like, oh, we'll be good next year. Like every year you have to grind and fight for it. And if you're there in that moment, you can't just give it away.
Exactly. And it seems to me that the teams that are successful are the teams that are able to get every single player to buy in that like this is the team. And that's what like we're part of a team. This has nothing to do with you as an individual. This has to do with the team. And like we've gone over, I mean, beating a dead horse at this point. But that decision was the ultimate, middle finger to Marshawn Lynch, but also to the entire team. Like, you know what? It's actually not about winning and it's not about the team. It's about something else.
Yeah.
Who knows what?
Especially if guys believe that. So we don't know if that's really what it is. That's a big conspiracy they were trying to get for us, or they didn't want Marshawn. But it doesn't matter if that was the reason or not. If guys start to believe that, if guys think that you were doing some, you're doing some stuff on the side because you didn't want Marshawn, if anyone even starts to believe that, it's over.
Exactly. Yeah.
One
So
one quick comment just about these current Seahawks, which they're fantastic. I was so impressed with Mike McDonald and those Seahawks that to end the game against the Rams in a situation where a lot of teams are running it 3 straight times and trying to run out the clock, they were aggressive over and over again. They went play action and threw it. And I'm such a fan of like, go win the game on offense. Go get the first downs and end the game. And I think so often now, like a team will just run it 3 straight times and then punt it and try to get a stop. And it's like, if you want to win, you got to go for it. And the Seahawks absolutely did it. It was very impressive to see how aggressive their play calling was. Right, scared money don't make money, whatever you want to say. They went and took it. They didn't like, oh, let's like hope we can, like just run the clock and then punt and then hope we get a stop. Nope, let's go win the game.
yeah, I mean you're playing against the Rams, and the Rams are that one of those teams that they're very meticulous everything they do, and they win on the margins. And the
Yeah.
only way to beat a team like that is to be aggressive and take chances, and that's what they did, and it worked out. I also want to say about both these teams, look at the state of their locker room and their coaches and what their coaches are preaching. And it's all team, right? Like that's all they're talking about. You see, I don't know if you saw that awesome video. McAfee was spreading it everywhere of McDonald's opening team meeting, his first meeting with the team.
Wow, no, I didn't see it.
He's basically like he's giving a prophecy. And he was like in January. He's talking about it ends up being the next January, so it ends up being like whatever, 21 months instead of 9 months. But anyways, he's giving a prophecy and he's like, it's the NFC championship game. And, like it's 30 degrees, it's rainy. For other people, it sucks. It's bad conditions. But for us, it's exactly what we want. Like this whole thing. And he's just giving this prophecy and it all comes true leading up into last week. That's when it was really going viral. And now here they are in the Super Bowl. So yeah, I mean, that's what it takes to win. You need a team that everyone's bought in to not being selfish. To finish out Marshawn Lynch's career, his last season was on 2015, the year after this egregious Super Bowl fiasco. He plays 7 games. He has nagging injuries. Then he retires. He's like, I'm done with these guys. He ends up going to the Raiders. There's that whole weird thing.
Yeah.
He comes out of retirement, goes to the Raiders, and then he retires for real. 5-time Pro Bowler. Sadly, only a 1-time Super Bowl champ. Completely changed the Seahawks offense for them.
You gotta think he's a Hall of Famer, right?
It's gonna be close, I think, because it was like a little bit of a flash in the pan,
Right, not the longest career.
But I think he's just also now, like he's still in the spotlight. Now it's funny, he's all over media. He is media now, but not the bad kind. I imagine at some point he'll get in. He has first team All-Pro, second team All-Pro, top 20 all-time in rushing touchdowns, and he has 10,000 career rushing yards. So,
And I think we'd be remiss, to have an episode talking about Marshawn Lynch and not mention that he is arguably one of the best plays of all time, right? The Beast Quake, where he broke 7 tackles,
something insane.
and one of the all-time plays where he's breaking tackles and then those guys are getting back up and he's breaking them again. Like, it was just one of the all-time runs, and then the crowd reaction to it. It was an all-time play.
Yeah, that might be the best NFL highlight of all time. Like, I think there was an actual earthquake from it. It was so loud.
Right, the Seahawks crowd. I mean, it's for me, what made that one special is also the moment, playoffs, and the crowd. I don't know if that's better than Saquon doing the reverse, jumping over someone backward. That's unbelievable. Or
Right.
there's other plays or certain catches that might be crazier, but just the pure physicality of that run. That play, if you ask, like, tell me who is Marshawn Lynch? Like, that play. Like, that's what I would show them. Like, that's the play. That's Marshawn Lynch's career. That's what made him so special.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That was Beastquake 1.0, but there was a 2.0, which wasn't as good. But against the Cardinals, another similar run, running people over, just
Stiff arming. He's just like so hard to take down in the open field because he's so physical.
yeah, an awesome player and beloved. I don't want to forget about the Bills side of this. The Bills, who sadly are continuing their trend of not being great. So they didn't make the playoffs from 2000 to 2016. CJ Spiller and Fred Jackson were fine, like we talked about earlier. Would Lynch have helped? Probably not.
I mean, more than those guys. Like, he's a better player than those guys.
Yeah, I mean, with this, right, like Lynch in good headspace and, performing to his capabilities, I guess it would have been better than them. Wouldn't have been the difference between them making the playoffs.
Right. And it seems like, Lynch just was having, off the field stuff with Buffalo. It was just he needed a new start.
Yeah. So, awesome guy, crazy trade. I mean, this is like my final thoughts on him is that he just wanted to be himself the whole time and kind of be understood for who he was. He had dreads and he had these tattoos, but that was just whatever. That's what he decided was authentic to himself, but it didn't stop him from having a 3.2 GPA at Cal, you know? Like, he grew up in this crazy neighborhood with tons of hustlers and pro athletes, and that was his life and that was his culture. And he decided to, he didn't, he said, there's all these interactions with coaches. They think he's some thug idiot. And he's like, no. Yeah, I have dreads and whatever, but I do whatever it takes. When he was in college, he was a student. There's no issue with his grades. There's no issue with class.
And yeah, I think it's something you like to talk about where people love authenticity. And Marshawn Lynch just was authentic. He was himself. And that's why, if you talk about a favorability score, is there anyone, a football fan, who doesn't like Marshawn Lynch? He's just beloved by all because he was himself.
Yeah.
Unapologetically himself.
Right. And I think that's part of what makes him not getting the ball so much worse too.
Yeah.
Because everyone loved him so much. All right. We've been going for a while. Let's hop into grades. You want to go first?
This is a weird one because a fourth and fifth pick, I'm not going to say it was this awful trade. I don't think Buffalo, blew their chances or anything. So I'd give it, I think it was a bad trade, but I don't think it's the worst. I think it's like a 3.5. I'll even go lower, 2.3. I don't think this is the worst trade. I think obviously the Seahawks won the trade, but I don't blame the Bills that much.
That's funny. So you said, what'd you say? 2.3. 2.3. Yeah. I think that we're going to be the furthest off on this one. I'm going to put at a 7.2. Because for me, it's
they gave away nothing.
Right. You just gave away Marshawn Lynch, who you drafted this guy 12th overall 3 years ago, and now you're giving him up for literally nothing.
Right. I guess the only thing that in my head is it wasn't going to work with him staying.
Right.
He wanted out. They were kind of done with him. He was having off the field problems. That's the only reason why I'm like, it's not this terrible trade, because like he wasn't going to work there.
I know, but we also talk about this all the time. Like, sometimes it seems like GMs just make these moves without calling more people. Like that was the best you could do. All you could get for Marshawn Lynch was a 4th or 5th round pick. A guy who it's his 4th season in the NFL. He has 2 1,000-yard seasons, and he's a 1st round talent. And
But
you couldn't
you know
get
how
rid
it
of
goes
that?
with running backs and short careers. Like, you're not getting a top 2 round pick for a running back ever anyway.
Running backs were higher value.
Right, that's true.
Ricky Williams, I think, got traded for like 2 1st round picks.
You know what? You're making good points. You are saying good. I guess the only reason why I'm going the lower is just that it wasn't going to work there. But you are making a good point. Maybe they could have shopped and at least got better value back.
Yeah, and also to me, part of the reason why it wasn't going to work is on them. Your job as a franchise is to understand your community and what's going on in there and how that's going to impact
That's true
players.
as well. I mean,
Whatever.
there's a reason Buffalo, is the poverty franchise. They can't win.
I come down hard on these like disastrous franchises that are just like running inefficiently drive me nuts. So
Yeah, well,
there's a tax for me.
luckily there's tons of content for that. We can find tons of franchises running horribly.
Yeah. There's only like 8 functional ones. So
In all those,
we don't have to look too hard.
yeah.
All right. You got anything else?
No, my last point, just back to the beginning, is you show me even a picture of Marshawn Lynch in a Buffalo Bills uniform. Like, it looks so weird to me. He is so ingrained in our minds as a Seahawk.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it is that when he was playing on the Bills, we were still like,
We were young,
we weren't old enough yet to like really,
and they weren't good.
yeah, like we weren't following where we would have known he was getting traded. And on the Seahawks, he was so good
Yeah.
and so memorable. Everything like, yeah, I remember watching Beastquake live, and like I think it was with my parents, and they were like, who don't watch sports, and they were like, "What is going on?" He was just such a memorable guy.
Yeah.
People remembered him, and he was awesome. All right,
Come on the pod. Come be a
on the
guest.
pod, Marshawn. We'd love to have you.
Thank you for listening to The Trade Rewind. You can find us on social media at The Trade Rewind on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. If you enjoy listening to the show, the best thing you can do for us is to leave us a 5-star on Spotify and share the episode.